The Santiago Bernabéu pulsed with life that night, a sea of voices rising and falling like waves crashing against concrete. Floodlights carved the pitch into a glowing battlefield, every blade of grass shimmering under the weight of 22 players and 90,000 restless hearts. But beneath the noise, beneath the chance for Real Madrid to dominate the match, CID officer Ayan Malik felt something else, something colder, something wrong. He wasn't there as a fan. He wasn't there for football at all. He was hunting a ghost. Earlier that afternoon, he'd received an anonymous message: "Tonight's match will end in blood. Watch the VIP box." Most tips turned out fake, but this one felt different. There was a sharpness to the wording, a promise of violence. Ayan's instincts had kept him alive through years of working in undercover crime, and tonight those instincts screamed for him to stay alert. Celta scored their first goal just as Ayan's eyes shifted to the VIP section. The crowd erupted in disappointment and anger, but Ayan saw something no one else did: a figure standing motionless behind the glass, hidden in shadows even though the box was brightly lit. The man didn't cheer. Didn't move. Didn't react. That stillness set every alarm bell in Ayan's mind ringing. Then, it happened. A sharp movement from inside the box. A flash of metal. A scream slicing through the cheers. A body toppled over the railing, arms flailing helplessly before crashing into the lower stands with a sickening thud that sent shockwaves rippling through the audience. Panic erupted instantly, people screaming, pushing, climbing over seats to get away from the blood that began pooling across plastic chairs. Security tried to regain control, but chaos spread like wildfire. Ayan pushed through the stampede, shoving past terrified fans. His muscles burned, his chest tightened, but he had to get to the scene. That's when he collided with her. Lara Velasco. Her notebook fell, scattering pages filled with scribbles, symbols, and names. She was trembling, not like a frightened civilian, but like someone who knew exactly what had just happened. Her eyes locked onto his, wide and shimmering with fear and defiance at the same time. Ayan grabbed her wrist to steady her, and a jolt shot up his arm. Not electricity, something darker, something magnetic. "I know who did this," she whispered, leaning in so close he could feel her breath against his neck. "But if I say the name out loud, I won't survive tonight." Ayan frowned. "You're a journalist." "Investigative," she corrected, stepping closer. "I was working on a story about corruption in football. Illegal betting, match fixing, and murder. This wasn't random. This was a message." Gunshots cracked from somewhere in the stands, drowning out the crowd noise. Ayan reacted instinctively, pulling Lara into his chest and shielding her with his body as people ducked and screamed. Sirens wailed outside. Helicopters buzzed overhead. The night had completely shifted, from a football match to a crime scene soaked in fear. Lara's voice trembled, but her resolve didn't. "They're coming for me," she whispered. Ayan tightened his grip on her, a fierce protectiveness rising inside him. Something about her, her courage, her danger, her scent, her secrets, pulled him in like gravity. "I'll protect you," he said, even though he knew that promise would drag him into the darkest case of his career. No matter what. But deep inside, he felt it: the moment their lives intertwined, the world around them seemed to tilt, pulling them into a darkness neither of them could escape. A darkness laced with crime and an attraction he couldn't ignore. The second goal hit the net just as Ayan and Lara slipped into the maintenance tunnel beneath the stadium. Above them, the roar of the crowd shook the concrete, but down here everything felt hollow, colder, as if the walls themselves were holding their breath. The fluorescent lights flickered in long, ghostly blinks that stretched their shadows across the narrow corridor. Lara kept glancing over her shoulder, her breathing sharp, uneven, like she was running from memories more than footsteps. She stopped suddenly. "Ayan," her voice wavered, cracking around the edges. The man who fell wasn't the target. Ayan turned to her, eyes narrowing. Sweat gleamed across her forehead, mixing with dust from the stadium. She wasn't just scared, she was breaking from the inside. "Then who?" he asked, even though he already knew the answer. "Me." The word left her mouth like a confession she'd been burying for years. Ayan felt something twist in his chest, a mix of anger and something deeper he didn't want to name. "Why would someone go that far for you? What do you know?" Lara didn't answer immediately. She pressed her back against the damp wall, her eyes darting between the flickering lights and the shadows at the end of the tunnel. "I got too close," she finally whispered. "I found evidence, files, recordings, money trails. There's a syndicate using football matches to launder millions. They fix scores, kill witnesses, burn stadiums if they have to." Her voice trembled, but her eyes burned with stubborn fire. "And the man leading them, he used to love me." The words landed like a blow. Ayan stepped closer, unintentionally, drawn by some invisible force. "Love?" His voice dropped, harsher than he intended. "Or obsession?" "Both," she breathed, looking at him with a mixture of guilt and fear. "He was gentle once. Charming. Until he wasn't. Until he realized he couldn't control me." Ayan studied her, the small quiver in her lips, the faint shaking in her hands, the way she hugged her notebook close to her chest like a shield. She wasn't lying. And she wasn't ready to break. That combination made her devastatingly compelling. Before he could speak, Lara's eyes widened. She pointed at a steel door ahead, something was taped to it, flapping slightly in the stale air. They moved together, slowly, silently. Ayan reached first, peeling the note off with gloved hands. The message was short. Chilling. Written in jagged red strokes. 2-0. The game is mine. Next goal is her heart. Lara's breath hitched. Ayan's jaw clenched so tightly he felt pain in his teeth. Whoever this killer was, he wasn't just sending warnings, he was playing a twisted game, and Lara was the final trophy. A faraway echo drifted down the tunnel, footsteps. Slow. Rhythmic. Each step felt deliberate, like someone savoring the anticipation, enjoying the fear they were creating. Lara moved instinctively behind Ayan, her fingers gripping the back of his shirt, knuckles white. He felt the tremor in her touch and something inside him ignited. He pulled her closer, lowering his voice to a growl. "As long as I'm breathing, no one lays a finger on you." Her eyes lifted to his, softening for a moment. "You don't even know how dangerous he is." Ayan leaned in, so close their breaths tangled. "I don't care." The footsteps grew louder. Mocking. Confident. Lara's heart thudded against his arm. She whispered, almost choking on the words, "We have to go. He'll kill you too." Ayan didn't move. His body blocked hers completely now, a shield of muscle and fury. "He'll try," he said. "But to get to you, he'll have to go through me." For a second, just one, Lara let the fear slip and looked at him the way a drowning person looks at air. A flicker of trust. A flicker of something dangerously close to desire. The lights flickered once more. The footsteps stopped. The game had officially begun, the footsteps echoed down the tunnel like a predator's heartbeat, slow, deliberate, confident. Ayan positioned himself in front of Lara, gun drawn, muscles taut and ready, eyes scanning every shadow for movement. The fluorescent lights flickered again, throwing everything into a strobe of half-light and darkness, turning the corridor into a stage for something deadly. Lara clutched her notebook like a talisman, her fingers trembling, but there was a fire in her eyes that refused to dim. She had faced death before, tonight, she would face it with Ayan. The figure finally emerged from the shadows. Tall, masked, and moving with unnerving calm. His hands were empty, but the menace in his posture filled the tunnel like a living thing. He stopped a few feet away, clapping slowly, mockingly. "Ayan Malik," he said, voice low, smooth, dangerous. CID's golden boy. And Lara, my beautiful mistake. A shiver ran down Lara's spine. She had heard that voice before, softer, warmer, but now it was coated in obsession, in the sort of love twisted into something lethal. The killer took a step closer, circling them like a predator testing its prey. 2 goals for Celta, he said with a sinister smile. 2 deaths for me. And now, extra time. Ayan tightened his grip on the gun. His heart pounded, but not just from fear, this was anger, fury, and a dark, inexplicable pull toward Lara that made his pulse race for reasons he didn't entirely understand. He could kill this man, end the threat instantly, but part of him wanted to see the danger in her eyes, wanted to feel that pulse of life against him. He hated himself for it. The killer lunged. Instinct took over. Gunfire, shouts, and the metallic clang of a pipe against concrete filled the tunnel. Smoke filled the air, choking, blinding. Ayan took a blade to his arm, pain searing, but he fought through it, muscles screaming, eyes locked on Lara, who ducked and struck a blow herself with a heavy pipe. Every movement was a dance between life and death, and in the chaos, Ayan's mind was singularly focused, keep her alive, no matter what. Finally, he managed to pin the killer against the wall, pressing the barrel of his gun against the man's temple. Sweat, blood, and smoke coated them both. Ayan's voice was low, steady, but charged with emotion he had no right to feel. It's over. The killer laughed through the mask, a sound that crawled under their skin. No, the match has just begun, he whispered, releasing a smoke bomb from his pocket and vanishing into the shadows, leaving only his laughter behind, echoing off the walls of the tunnel. Lara collapsed into Ayan's arms, trembling, shaking, but alive. His arms tightened around her, and for the first time, he allowed himself to feel the pull he had been resisting, the dangerous, magnetic attraction that had been simmering beneath their fear. Her forehead rested against his chest, her hair damp and sticky, mingling with his own sweat. He won't stop, she whispered, voice tiny and fragile. Ayan pressed his lips to her temple, a dark promise forming in the depths of his chest. Then I'll stop him, even if it destroys me. For a moment, the world narrowed to just the 2 of them, bloodied, terrified, but entwined in a bond forged in fear, danger, and a love as dark and consuming as the night itself. Outside, the stadium roared with echoes of a football game, unaware that beneath its cheering crowd, a far deadlier match had been played, and won, by 2 souls caught between crime, obsession, and a passion they could neither deny nor escape. The shadows lingered, waiting. The game wasn't over.